What's up, everyone? I have been traveling every winter for the last 4 years, and I've been spending most of my time in Colombia, specifically Medellin, Colombia. At this point, 2 or 3 months each winter. I have lived there over 1 year in total. So I've got a lot of people asking me questions about it, and I'm going to give you the answers. All right, in this video, I'm going to be covering specific questions I have written on my phone from people. I'm going to cover safety, language, age gaps in dating, strategic neighborhoods, and I'm going to give you a bunch of bitter truths, all the cons that you're never going to read about in the travel magazines and the travel vlogs. As I travel, I'm trying to find the negatives. You can rarely find it, so I'm going to give you a lot of the negatives. Now, safety. How safe or dangerous is Medellin really? What I would say is that certain areas are dangerous, most areas are safe. Most of the big famous areas now are very, very safe. However, there is, I would like to break down, let's say, danger or crime into two categories, all right? There's the violent crime, like getting stabbed or getting raped or something crazy. And then there's what I call stupid crime. Like if you leave your backpack or MacBook unattended and get up and go to the bathroom and it gets taken. So what I would say is in Medellin, Colombia, if you're living in the big cities and in the big main areas, it's not going to really worry so much about violent crime. You're gonna have to be more cautious than in America. You want to not maybe wear jewelry, not flash a lot of cash. This is all common sense travel stuff you should already know. But be very aware for, as I said, stupid crime. All right, if you leave your smartphone down, if you leave your MacBook around, there's just a lot of the population that doesn't have as much money as the average American, and they will see that as many months' rent to take it and sell it. All right, so if you do that, you are being stupid, and in my opinion, you deserve to get something taken. The next part is language. Do you need Spanish? Do you need Spanish to get by? Do you need Spanish for dating purposes and meeting women? You don't need it. You can get by with Google Translate. However, if you speak literally 0% Spanish, I would highly, highly suggest getting on a free language learning app like Duolingo, or learning on YouTube or somewhere, and getting to 10%. If you could learn 50 or 100 words, your communication skills will be about 1,000 times greater than with 0 words. And Colombia is not like a Costa Rica or one of these countries where many people speak English. Colombia, most people really don't speak English, right? So you're gonna really be relying on Google Translate if you don't have it. As I said, I know a lot of people that dated girls, had a great time with no Spanish whatsoever. However, all my buddies that came, people that I talked to, if you speak, as your Spanish skills get better, you will have a much better time and a much better experience, right? You're in a country that speaks Spanish, so the more you can learn, the better. All right, the next question I'm going to answer is a specific question about age gaps in dating. Can you date an educated, good-looking college girl if you're 35 years old? I would say absolutely, definitely. It's much easier in Colombia than in America. I think in America, the typical age gap is like the guy is like 2 or 3 years older than the woman. In Colombia, it's very, very common to have a 10-year age gap. Okay, so in America, you could do a 10-year, 15-year age gap, whatever you want to do. However, it's just a little bit harder because maybe less girls will be open to it. In Colombia, if the average age gap is 10 years, you could do that easily, and you could do much bigger gaps, with a little bit of effort, all right? So it's a great advantage to go to Colombia and date women if you're an older guy. Great time, really a lot of fun. All right, so the next topic is the neighborhoods you want to be at, strategic neighborhoods for getting around, enjoying life, dating, meeting women. There's really 2 neighborhoods that come up in all the topics, all the digital nomad groups. It's Poblado and, now I can't remember the name, Poblado and Laureles. A lot of people love Poblado. Personally, I don't like it. I prefer Laureles much, much more, and I'll explain why. Poblado, it's very hilly. There's lots of hills, so everything you go to do, you basically need a taxi. Laureles is completely flat. Poblado is more common that you could find like a luxurious, nice apartments, and there's lots of restaurants, there's lots of things to do, and if you are really into nightlife, Parque Lleras is the big nightlife epicenter of Medellin. That is in Poblado, okay? So that might be your preference if you're really, really into nightlife. Me personally, I'm not into it. I like going out in everyday life and socializing, meeting people. pretty low key throughout my day, just go to cafes and coffee shops. So that's where Laureles really shines, right? It's much more laid back. Tons of cafes, independent little restaurants, and it's totally flat, so you could get a nice apartment and just walk around and get by. You don't need to buy taxis every time you go and do something. So that's my opinion. Both areas are very, very safe, and they have tons of options on Airbnb. All right, now I want to discuss some of the negatives, the cons, the things that you're really probably not going to hear from a lot of people. And don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining, I'm just letting you know that these exist. I absolutely love Medellin, or why would I go every year, right? So I absolutely love it, but these are just some things that some people complain about, some people it bothers them. Me personally, I feel that the pros far, far outweigh these little cons, okay? Pollution is bad. People complain about this, and it's true. They seem to not have any type of standards for the emissions on their cars and their buses, and Medellin is in a valley, so I think that the car pollution gets a little bit trapped. And if you are, so this would be, I would say, be very cautious to get an apartment right on a main road, because fumes will be coming into your apartment, and it'll be really annoying. So you want to either get an apartment at a very high floor or somewhere not very on the main road, and you'll be fine, all right? If you're trying to cross the street and you're stopped at a red light when all the traffic is going by, you're going to be like, all right, so you got to try to avoid that. But that's just minor inconvenience. I don't go near the main roads often, and I know it exists, so I'm perfectly fine with it. This is very trivial, but I figure I'll mention it. When you leave America, a lot of things feel smaller and tighter, all right? So like walkways, hallways, doorways, bathrooms, things are gonna have a little bit less space, all right? I think everything in America, the standard now is like handicap access. So we have huge hallways, huge walkways, and when you leave this country and you go other places, in general, I've noticed this in Europe and also Colombia, there's more people, what could be a little bit crowded feeling, and just smaller, tighter spaces, all right? So that's something you'll probably just notice. It's not a big deal. Another negative I would say is, in general, it's not as polished as America. So for instance, in the United States, all the sidewalks are taken care of. All the landscapes are, maintained by landscaping crews, and things generally look pretty and perfect and beautiful. You'll see in Colombia that the sidewalks are a little bit fucked up, and things are not so well maintained. I have learned to really actually like this look now in some strange way. It's like we're in New York City. It's something like a city look. It just looks cool, and something you do have to be aware of. When you're walking on the sidewalks, there's these little manhole covers, whatever they are, for the water company or gas company, and a lot of the covers are missing, and it's a hole like the size of your foot, and it'll drop down a foot or 2 feet. So I'm sure a lot of people drop their leg in there, hurt their ankle on these things in the sidewalk. So you just got to be aware, look where you're going. It's not America. Not everything's perfect and taken care of for you. One topic, it's referencing back to the conversation about safety and crime. The term I wanted to say is situational awareness, all right? You generally, this is good everywhere, but in America, it's so safe and so everything polished and taken care of for you that you could really not be that situationally aware, and you're probably more or less totally fine. In Colombia, you just want to have a higher degree of situational awareness, right? Keep your eye on your stuff, your wallet, your bag, your smartphone. You don't want to be leaving these things around, leaving them out of sight, all right? So, and in general, situational awareness of people around you, it's just common sense as a traveler, I think. There's less consumeristic options, all right? So if you're looking for a particular brand or, some type of specific food item, they have plenty of stuff, but it's just less than America. America has an overabundance of everything. And like, for instance, say I do filming these videos. If I need a specific camera part, or if my lens breaks, it's just a little bit more challenging to find certain items in Colombia, okay? Where in America, you can basically get anything you want from Amazon the next day at your doorstep. So anything that you want, make sure you bring it with you, or do your research in advance. This is a really important one. The paisa culture is super laid back, all right? So what this translates to is there is really no making plans and scheduling things. All right, you could do it, and sometimes it works, but generally it is really, really laid back, and plans are the last second. If you say, let's do something at 6 o'clock 3 days from now, it's like 80% chance it's not going to happen, or it's going to happen too late, or the next day, or plans are very, very, very flexible by default. So this is something specifically when guys start planning dates, meeting girls for a drink, or to go out for the night. the girls don't show up, or they show up 2 hours later, or they move it to the next day. This stresses out a lot of guys. They think that they're being, flaked on or disrespected, which by American standards and American culture, to make plans with someone and then to not show up, it is disrespectful. But I'm telling you, believe me, Paisa culture, it's not disrespectful, it's just the way it is, all right? So my suggestion is, if you're really trying to, meet people and get dates happening, schedule 2 dates, maybe 3 dates. Stagger them like 30 minutes apart, half an hour, 1 hour apart, and you see who shows up, right? Because it's really laid back, and flaking is very, very common. Another negative is, if you're an American and you go into Medellin to date women, this is something that many, many people are doing, and there is a huge stigma of sex tourism, okay? So if you're an American going to date Colombian women, many of them are very interested in meeting you, and it's perfectly fine. However, don't be shocked if sometimes they're not interested at all, because in their social circle, they're afraid to be perceived like a prostitute, because you have the reputation as a gringo for being a sex tourist. These are my trivial things. I talked about, maybe I'll do another video talking all the positives, which if you're interested in Medellin, or if you've gone there, you probably already know all the positives. It's beautiful culture, beautiful city, very modern, very advanced, and I absolutely love it. Perfect spring weather, the culture is beautiful, but I just wanted to do this video, answer a lot of these questions the guys had, and especially just touch on the topic of a lot of the cons which no one really talks about, no one actually does videos on, like travel vlogs and stuff. So hope this helps you out if you're going to Medellin. If you have any questions or feedback, throw it in the comment section and I will answer. All right, please consider subscribing, hit the notifications bell if you want to see more videos like this. I talk a lot also about success in general and dating, and everything I talk about is revolving around, for men. All right, so thanks for watching. See you soon.